Yeah, so guys, we're gonna change the name of the show. Let me tell you why. Hey nerds, welcome back to Nordic D&D, the Nerd Hangout. In this episode, we're gonna rebrand the show and give it a new name, and I'm gonna tell you why in an Info-E episode. Let's go.
Let me enlighten you. Information.
Time for the latest updates. Hey guys, welcome back. Yeah, so the name of this YouTube channel has been Nordic D&D the entire time, and it all started with our D&D podcast. Now I came up with the name Nordic D&D because I wanted the D&D to be inside the name to make it easier to find when you search for Dungeons and Dragons material. And since we are recording in Copenhagen, Denmark, this is the north, and we like Nordic themes, and we've actually teased about and talked about in the future making a Nordic theme podcast. Nordic D&D just seemed like a good catch, it seemed like a good name. And then we called the show Nordic D&D like the podcast, and then we added the name for the podcast itself to be the Ariana Saga in case we want to make a different kind of podcast. So we can always change the last piece of the title, like we did with a YouTube channel. Now before I started a YouTube channel, I didn't have any plans on making it whatsoever. I just planned on making a podcast. Before that, I just wanted to play some D&D, and things just developed. I go a lot about in details about this in Session 0 episode of the podcast, when you can hear how it all started up becoming a podcast. And I have been talking about before also how this developed into a YouTube channel. The thing is that it kind of happened just because me and my brother and Martin Rajan, who we play a lot of D&D together with, talk a lot about D&D, and it's a really passion of all of us, so we just came up with the idea, why not discuss it? And as things develop from that, there's a lot of things more I want to talk about. I really love talking about cartoons, toys, console games and movies, the Marvel universe, the DC universe, all kinds of nerdish things. So then I thought about, yeah, there's a lot of things we can do. We can also go outside, do all kinds of nerdish things, which none of the things I've done yet because of this COVID thing. It's kind of a shame. But as soon as all this dwells down, and we hope it will sooner rather than later, then we could do some things outside. And now it feels like the YouTube channel has developed much more than I anticipated in the beginning, mainly because the podcast isn't officially released yet, but it will be on the 1st of January 2021, so do be sure to check that out, guys. Nordic D&D, the Ariana Saga. So yeah, a lot of my focus has been, of course, producing the Ariana Saga podcast, but I have given an episode out each week on the YouTube channel since this summer. This is my first time doing anything like this, and it's a lot of fun to do, and I want to continue doing it. But I have also told you guys that from the new year, there's probably not going to be an episode every week, because I really want to focus more on the podcast, because that is going to be an episode every week. We are still in the process of playing that Dungeons and Dragons game. We're not finished yet. And I'm still in the process of editing the episodes and putting them up there on the net. But I'm not gonna quit the YouTube channel or the Nerd Hangout. I really like that, but I'm gonna keep an episode every other week, or they're gonna come just as a flow for a period set of time. Then when I feel that I have made a lot of episodes for the podcast ahead of time, then I'm going to focus back on the Nerd Hangout. Now to come back to the topic of the day, why I'm going to change the name of the show. I just feel like that Nordic D&D can be a little bit confusing for what entails the YouTube channel, because the YouTube channel is not only about Norse things, it's not only about D&D, but all kinds of nerdish stuff. Because if the main title of our YouTube channel is Nordic D&D, then if people are looking for D&D specifically and they come to the channel and they find out, well, this is not only D&D, there's a lot of stuff here, not so much D&D as I wanted, and people who are nerds who like kinds of toys and all other things that I do, but don't like D&D probably won't even check it out, and that's a shame. So just to clarify, we're going to remove the name Nordic D&D but keep the name The Nerd Hangout on our YouTube channel. That's also going to be on Instagram, on our Twitch account, and on other platforms that we use. But our podcast, our D&D podcast, is still going to be called Nordic D&D, the Ariana Saga. We're going to keep that. So when you Google that, you're still going to find our podcast, even on our YouTube show. So I've been working around trying to change out the names, change out the logo a little bit. And that just means that the overarching title of our show is going to be The Nerd Hangout. And in The Nerd Hangout, you can still hear our Nordic D&D, the Ariana Saga podcast, and all kinds of different nerdish stuff like we usually do. But guys, that is the only thing that's going to change. The show is going to keep on being what it is, and the podcast is still going to be what it is. It's just the name that's going to change. So it's more on the dot. When you go to YouTube, you see this is the Nerd Hangout. So this must be some kind of nerdy shit finding on this channel. And it is. But if you want to go directly to our YouTube channel, it's no longer going to be called Nordic D&D the Ariana Saga or Nordic D&D the Nerd Hangout. It's just going to be called The Nerd Hangout. And in The Nerd Hangout, you'll be able to hear the podcast Nordic D&D the Ariana Saga and whatever podcast or D&D games we are going to develop. But in The Nerd Hangout, you're still going to see us play Dungeons & Dragons. You can hear us talk about Dungeons & Dragons and all the other things that we've been doing. Crafting, I'm going to make more videos of that, by the way. Miniature painting, we're going to make more of that also. We haven't released anything yet, but my brother's a good miniature painter. We're going to show some photos of it there and stuff like that. Reviews, we haven't made any reviews yet. So there's a lot of things that I really want to do that I haven't actually gotten to yet. But we have discussed our opinions, nerdish talks, nerdish discussions about what we think about different topics and stuff. We have talked about toys. You gotta give me that, guys. We have been talking about toys. And we have been talking about Dungeons & Dragons. So we are getting there, guys. I just need to find my way, guys. I just need to know how to do this. This is the first half year of being a YouTuber, so it's very new to me. I've made changes with the audio and the recording, and we're gonna change the studio sometimes, maybe the backgrounds. And you can tell me in the comments what you think about the studio, how it looks. And what do you think about changing the name? Do you agree that this is a good choice for me to do? That it's a little bit easier to find if you just want to do something nerdish, or if you specifically want to do something D&D? If you agree and you like the new title, give me a thumbs up, guys. It really helps out the channel when you interact with us. Leave a comment, tell me what's on your mind, tell me what you think, or give me a good idea what kind of nerdish material you would like to see on the show. What do you like us to talk about? What would you like us to do? And we will take it into consideration, guys. Anyway, guys, this was just another short info-y episode. I'm gonna say thank you for today, guys, and see you next week on The Nerd Hangout. Goodbye. And see you next time on The Nerd. So yeah, guys, So yeah, guys, that was just me trying to talk about all the things that we. So if you want to tickle your nerd bone, come to the Nerd Hangout, guys, where we hang out. So if you want to get some nerdish updates, be sure to subscribe to our channel where we talk about reviews and where we talk about reviews of movies and cinema and